In this presentation, I'll talk about how the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence can be integrated with mass customization to change this manufacturing strategy in the years to come. So I'll first give you an example of how traditional mass customization works. I'll then continue with AI because it's changing the way products are customized. And afterwards, I'll talk about IoT, which will have a larger impact on how customized products are being used and adjusted to the experiences and personalized after the sale of the core product. Mass customization is a combination of two terms. We have mass production on one hand and customization on the other hand. And these two terms, which at first seem to be contradictory, are combined. So essentially, mass customization means that companies are trying to find ways how to tailor products to the customer's individual needs and preferences and manufacture them with the efficiency of mass production. So this is what we are talking about. And this is how mass customization in most cases looks like in practice. A customer visits a website, an online sales configurator, and is guided through a series of steps in this guided process. During the process, the user can then select the colors, materials, sometimes shapes that he prefers, add custom writings, and depending on the product, also customize some technical aspects or other aesthetical aspects. Okay, so this is essentially how Nike by You does it. We have here the Air Force One sneaker, Nike Air Force One. And at some point, you will see how the product is evolving towards what customers maybe had in mind. Now, this process takes time. That is one of the potential disadvantages of what is usually a fun activity to do. And it also requires a certain degree of technical capability on one hand and creative imagination from the part of the customer. And that is what sometimes keeps people from customizing the product and then also checking out and buying the product. At some point, you will come to the end of the customization process and you have the chance to actually buy it. So you see what you designed, and if the customer decides to complete the purchase, then the product is produced, right? So that's also something relevant to say about mass customization. It's interesting to know that at this stage in this whole process, about 90+% of customers actually drop out. So many try out the customization, but then for a variety of reasons, they decide not to purchase the product. And that is one of the things that using AI, we may be able to improve. In a very simplified way, we can think of mass customization as these three phases that you see on this slide. So first, the customization phase. It's fun, it's an engaging activity, but it's time consuming, as I said. And it requires a degree of willingness and capability to co-create the value, right? To co-create the product. So we are here in a co-creation process of users. And there are a few additional challenges that occur at this stage, such as overchoice effects or the paradox of choice, which I will explain in a minute. Then we move on to the purchase, where about 10% or less actually buy the product. And finally, the product is being used. But our needs and preferences, they change over time, right? So maybe we purchased a product which at the moment when we designed it was really a solution for our individual needs or preferences, but then it may become obsolete sooner or later. Within these phases, we see AI as mainly being beneficial in the product customization phase and IoT being beneficial in the post-purchase phase. There is certainly some overlap, but I'll focus on these two scenarios. Now keep in mind that mass customization, to some it seems like an innovative technology, but it's actually something that has been around for about 20 years, and in these 20 years it has changed very little from a technological perspective. AI can basically improve the customization by making it quicker, easier, and more satisfying for the user. So let's discuss these three use cases. First, mass customization companies can use AI to give customers individual recommendations, much like it's done with standard products, which is what we see on this slide. Mass customization platforms can generate ideas, show custom inspirations, but most importantly, customize the customization process. Because what these companies are very good at usually is to provide a wide variety of options customers can choose from. But the process itself is exactly the same for all the customers. And as we are not just different in terms of what we need and want, but also in how we do it and how our approach towards customization is, it is also key to customize this whole process. How can that be done? For example, by offering only options that are relevant for the individual customer. So as far as it concerns myself, don't show me pink and orange as an option because those colors are just not for me. And if I'm not shown these options, my decision-making process is quicker, I'll be more satisfied, I'll be more secure about what I do. This also helps to prevent the paradox of choice, which I mentioned just a few moments ago. Paradox of choice means that if we ask customers, we ask them, how many options would you like to have to choose from, right? Then very likely we would say as many as possible, right? An infinite number of options, because that may, from an individual subjective perspective, give me the best benefit. But then at the same time, the more options we offer to customers, interestingly, if it's more than 7, it's something like a magic number, the degree of satisfaction decreases, the willingness to choose decreases, and overall, it's less likely that we find the color that actually matches what we had in mind, right? So we feel more insecure, less happy about the choice, and AI can help with that. Second, it can be frustrating for users to, for example, customize a car or customize a bike, go through the whole process, invest the time, choose all the options that are best for us, only to find out at the end of the customization process that the product is twice as expensive as the budget that we had in mind. This again can lead to non-purchase from the customer, a negative overall experience, and maybe even bad brand reputation. And here again, artificial intelligence can help implement budget optimized customization by simply eliminating some options or complete features. For example, let's say when it comes to car customization, expensive rims. And AI can understand which options to remove, which features to remove based on behavioral data, based on experiences, and so on. Maybe depending on what I chose in the first step, remove some options in the second, third step of this customization process. And the third example of AI in mass customization is the integration of augmented reality and virtual try-ons. This can not only help previewing the item like we see it here, but also enable more complex customization. For example, here we can preview the chair in our living room, okay? Nothing exciting so far, right? But what about if the system can help me match the color of the chair to its actual environment, to the actual room in which it will be used, right? So that can really be beneficial for some users who have a hard time in doing that process from a creative point of view. Or I may have to buy some new glasses. So match the shape of the glasses to the distance of my eyes, right? Or maybe to the overall facial shape, right? So this is how we can integrate these technologies. And these three applications that I just presented should lead to higher numbers of customers who participate in mass customization on one hand, and on the other hand, increase conversion rates. Now, moving on to IoT, the focus is now on the post-purchase phase. This works for products that have some degree of connectivity, obviously, or smart functionality, allowing for continuous customization even after the product was bought. And that's the exciting part here. For example, a smart car could adjust the suspension over time, the seating, the infotainment system, again, based on behavior, maybe based on the traffic. As we are getting older, maybe we evolve certain changes, and the system can help us with that. Another example are hearing aids. You see here on this slide 3D printed hearing aids. So these are customized according to the shape of the ear of the patient, right? So to have a better fit. But then with the Internet of Things, the system can customize amplification levels and maybe detect also in hearing ability, right, over time. Imagine that the hearing ability of the patient increased, right, got better or got worse. So we can actually adjust that over time so that the user always receives the correct level of support. Also, this works for other medical devices. IoT here could also, in theory, sense environmental factors. Is the customer indoor or outdoor? Is he in a crowded space, right? So these are all customizations going on, which can be supported with the help of IoT. But also lifestyle and wellness applications. So IoT-enabled fitness machines, for example. They can update work programs if a user's fitness goals have changed, or maybe if his actual fitness level changed over time, then what was originally developed as a custom fitness plan is adjusted. And this could be linked with health monitors such as the smartwatch that you see here on the right-hand side. So several of these examples are already implemented by some companies in practice. So I want to close my presentation with two future outlooks. One thing we will probably see a lot in the coming years are virtual assistants, right? Just like you know it from all those chatbots, ChatGPT. Also, the support of users in customizing the product will look or may look like this in the future. So essentially an AI chatbot that can integrate all the functions that I talked about before, and users with a different approach to customization can now simply talk to the machine and say, okay, I have this in mind, what are your suggestions, help me find a color that matches these preferences, or this is what I like to do, and so on, right? So this will mainly benefit those who have some limited creative ability to go through this process. Another idea could be to analyze, let's say, voice, tonality, or facial recognition, and suggest products or customization options that match with the user's emotional state, for example.